Alright, Terry's, the day has come. It is finally time to yeet out this mock-up engine out of the wagon. We got the other one. We've just been kind of setting up the shop a little bit as of lately. But the time has certainly come. This guy's done his job. It looks good, but we need this thing to run now.
Terry, how's that stereo install going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. We've got a couple speakers mounted up.
Yeah?
She's gonna slap.
She's gonna slap?
Guy at Ace Hardware was pretty stoked. She's like, Sony, it's good stuff right there. And I was like, yeah, it is.
How long have you been working on that project? 2 weeks?
Did you get that 100% copper wire?
I haven't gotten the 100% copper wire yet, but I got 100% speaker with a mount here. There we go. Goes just like that.
Yeah.
And then this goes over here. Knock 19 and a whole 50. Just like that. And then boom. Yeah, speakers.
And then you got the double boom right here.
We got those guys up there.
Yeah.
And then we still gotta figure out a subwoofer.
Oh yeah, we need a location on that.
Might have to get in some woodwork on that, but we'll see. So we're gonna put the Sony head unit in here, measure it out, get my template all made up so I can cut right through this. Gotta make sure it's really precise because carbon dash. Don't want to mess this thing up.
No.
A little worried. Yeah, gotta make sure steady my hands up. Might have to have a drink or something.
Don't worry, Dayton, we're all counting on you.
Oh, thank you. Got this cool stuff that just looks like a nice single black wire, but there's actually two little ones inside. So it looks all super nice and clean. If you look right here, getting them all wired up here. So these are gonna be the door speakers. It's left side, these are gonna be right side. And then we're bridging this channel for the sub. So that's gonna be just for that. And then, power wires here, but gonna all run nice and neat and tidy. Got tape right now, gonna get zip tie saddles later.
We got the screen for this thing, Bluetooth. This is gonna be the power unit for the whole freaking thing. But Dayton did a super good job cutting it through this Big Duck Club carbon dash. So basically it's just got two little brackets on the back side. We just did like quick little 1024 rib nuts holding that thing in, little stainless button head, nice and clean. But this thing is gonna be wicked sick. Dayton got all the door speakers rigged up, so it's got two, what are they, 5s or 6s in the front doors?
2 6.5s in the front doors and 6x9s in the rear.
Yeah. So 6x9s in the rear, and just 6x9s alone apparently like slap. So we're gonna have the two fronts, 2 in the rear, plus the 10-inch sub that we have in the back. Check this thing out. We actually end up going by a stereo store right around the corner here in Costa Mesa, and this is just like a truck box that's supposed to go behind the the back seat of your single cab truck or whatever, but it just hilariously fit really, really nice right over here in this corner. So that's kind of where we ended up with it. It didn't exactly fit just right, so Dayton fabricated his own little aluminum ring to adapt that to, because I think this is for a 12-inch sub, this box is.
Yeah, the box is for a 12, the sub's a 10.
So he ended up making that little thing, but it just barely, and I mean barely, fits in there. Once the sub is in there, because it sticks out a little bit, we had to kind of like weasel it in there, but I think it's totally sick. It doesn't take away from any of our fabric we did in the back, and radium cell still looks sick. So Noah and I gonna yank this thing out, charge pipes off, motor mounts off. It actually doesn't have a transmission in it right now, so this is gonna be really easy. I anticipate this is gonna take us like an hour. So take this motor out, and then we have a couple of clutch issues to figure out. I don't know, I really, really, really wanna put a 4-speed in this thing, so it's one of those things where I feel like if we just do it now, do it right the first time, because I feel like any transmission we put behind this monster is just gonna break anything except for a 4-speed dog box. So sit underneath the oil pan around there. Back up in here today, working on getting this 4-speed behind this OM606. This is our NA mock-up engine that we had in the wagon that went to SEMA and PRI. So the real motor's done, it's right there. So I'm trying to mock this up on this one. But GSR, NASCAR 4-speed to diesel inline 6-cylinder. I don't know anybody who's ever done this before, so I'm trying to kind of figure this out as I go. I got a couple different options here on bell housing, but this bell housing and adapter right here is actually out of the 2JZ NASCAR. So that is a automatic 2J bell housing with the 4-swing adapter plate. Makes that 4-speed go to a 2JZ. But this doesn't fit, obviously, the OM606, so I'm trying to get a little bit custom here. So this transmission adapter is from Diesel Pump UK. That is OM606 to BMW diesel 5-speed transmission. I'm really worried that I'm just going to break that transmission immediately, so I want to go with something that shifts better and is way stronger, and that would be the 4-speed. So actually, we kind of got lucky. I got a flywheel from Diesel Pump UK, and the pilot bearing actually fits perfect on that transmission. Really, really lucky, so that's pretty cool. So I just swung this J3 bell housing with this 4-swing adapter deal onto this 4-speed and stuck it on. And holy crap, it like sort of fits.
What sort of gauge is that?
This is called a dial indicator, and what we're doing is we're trying to figure out how to perfectly center this J3 bell housing, which is off a Toyota 2JZ, onto this crankshaft on this OM606. So this basically, you stick it onto the magnetic part of the flywheel, you spin the engine around, and that will tell you how far off this hole is from the center of the crankshaft. So we need to get that really, really close, and then I was able to find these dowel holes, so then I have a perfect little transfer punch. I can just go ahead and set that, and I'm going to drill this plate, and then that's going to be exactly, ideally, the center. So the input shaft from the transmission is not side loaded or nothing's weird. Yeah, 4-speed behind a diesel things. Okay, so stop. But I have a lot of time into this, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, you just gotta take your time and do it the right way the first time. I just didn't trust that DZ or whatever transmission, that synchro box was, that we were supposed to put on this thing. And then of course, once you get used to a 4-speed, you never wanna go back. It's the first OM606 dog box combo in the States that I know of. So pretty cool stuff, I'm hyped.
Who's your role in this?
Moral support. I'm a cheerleader.
You're the hand model?
That's right.
So one thing that we didn't talk about is that we potentially might have to remake our motor mounts because this engine never had a transmission on it, ever. So we built the motor mounts just whatever looked good in the engine bay, just to send it to SEMA and PRI. So I don't know how this is gonna fit. We're definitely gonna have to cut the trans tunnel to get the shifter to go through, which is fine, but I just don't know, we might have to remake the motor mounts, so hopefully not. Okay, you already know, max gear 7590, roll purple going in the trans because we figure it's easier to reach right now when the whole thing's out. Should take right about like a little bit over one of these. Pretty custom little Ford I got here, huh? So what I got to do to fit this GSR box in this E46 chassis is first off, the shifter's kind of big, and second off, it needs to have a lot of room. So if we want to pull the transmission, the input shaft has to come out of the clutch. That means the transmission has to go backwards. According to my calculations, the center of the shifter is going to be right here, which is actually pretty far back. So I'm just going to get a hole in this transmission tunnel cut out so that we can stick this thing up in here, make sure everything's lined up, make sure everything's looking good, and then we'll probably have to end up taking this farther up here as well. And then we'll probably just have to fabricate our own little tunnel for this thing. So getting a little custom with it, but again, it'll be worth it in the end. This is kind of some fitting that I just had laying around, and I have to like turn this down and press it inside this little rubber piece that goes in the valve cover. And then we can convert it to AN, run an AN line nice and clean back up to a Radium Engineering catch can. So, you know, making stuff, getting custom. We'll go like this way, probably to a can back there somewhere. Well, I'll tell you what, now that the motor's in there, I'm big hyped that we definitely don't have to remake the motor mounts. Somehow I got lucky on that, which I'll take it. I'm stoked on that. Which in turn, now that we did that and the transmission's already on the motor, we were able to make a trans mount as well, which turned out pretty sick. So we'll check that out in a sec. But then with that transmission, that GSR box is like really freaking tall, which is kind of a bummer. So I hacked the whole inside of the car out, which I'm sure you guys saw. But let's check this trans mount out real quick. Oh, poor car. It was all painted up. I'll steal it nice, and then I just hacked that thing up. Poor guy. But I got a pretty good idea for what we're going to do for like a nice little plate on top. So that'll be cool. And then no lift yet, so we're going ground style. I just got to crawl up underneath it there. I see that thing. So similar to what I did on my comp car, it's like little angle iron bits on either side. But the floor in these E46s have like a little bump on this side. So I had to like turn up this little spacer on the lathe to kind of like take up that little bump right there. And then what I'll usually do is just like make a piece of plate, weld that thing on, have a nice little bend in it, pick up that trans mount, and then just some side support gussets, and then a rubber trans mount. Pretty happy with it though. Turned out pretty freaking sweet. I'm just so happy I didn't have to remake those motor mounts because that would have been a major bummer. But we're good.